How are you today?
I'm good.
My name is Dr. Randa. How are you? You must be Carolyn.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that you're a new patient with us,
Mhm.
correct? And what brings you here today?
Well, a lot of people my age, they started using birth control, but I'm not exactly sure what it is, and I wanted to go to the expert. So I'm here for that today.
Ah, I see. Well, you're in the right place. But there are many benefits and different types of birth control, and in order for me to prescribe or for you to know how birth control works, you're gonna have to have a little basic understanding of what the ovarian cycle is.
Okay, so what exactly is that?
Well, I have just a thing for that. A booklet. Let me take you through it. First, in order to understand the ovarian cycle, you will need a brief understanding of oogenesis, which is the process by which eggs are produced in the ovary. Before birth, eggs start off as oogonia stem cells, which divide through mitosis. By birth, they are primary oocytes and start meiosis but stay at prophase 1. Primary oocytes are contained inside primordial follicles. Throughout life, primordial follicles grow, becoming primary follicles and then secondary follicles. At puberty, the follicle becomes a vesicular follicle. The primary oocyte inside completes meiosis 1, forming a secondary oocyte and a polar body. The secondary oocyte starts meiosis 2 and stays at metaphase 2. At ovulation, the secondary oocyte ruptures out of the vesicular follicle. The ruptured follicle becomes the corpus luteum. If the secondary oocyte is fertilized, it completes meiosis 2 and forms an ovum and a secondary polar body. If it is not fertilized, menstruation occurs, and the corpus luteum degenerates into the corpus albicans. Now, the ovarian cycle is the monthly series of events associated with the maturation of an egg. The cycle occurs over 28 days and is made up of two phases, the follicular phase and the luteal phase. The follicular phase occurs for the first 14 days. Low levels of progesterone and estrogen cause the hypothalamus to send gonadotropin-releasing hormone, aka GnRH, to the pituitary gland, which signals the pituitary gland to release follicle-stimulating hormone, aka FSH, and luteinizing hormone, aka LH. FSH causes the maturation of the follicles in the ovary. As the follicles grow, more estrogen is released. One dominant follicle develops that will release a single ovum in the cycle. Estrogen acts to suppress FSH production, providing negative feedback. The high levels of estrogen also cause the pituitary gland to release a massive surge of LH, which triggers the oocyte to be released from the follicle on the 14th day. This release is called ovulation. Now, we enter the luteal phase, which occurs in the second half of the cycle. The ruptured follicle is transformed into the corpus luteum. This corpus luteum produces progesterone, which is the predominant sex hormone in the luteal phase and makes the endometrium favorable for implantation of the embryo. The progesterone signals the hypothalamus and pituitary glands to suppress FSH and LH production, ensuring that no more follicles mature. If fertilization has occurred, the corpus luteum continues to produce progesterone until the placenta takes over. However, if there is no fertilization, the corpus luteum deteriorates and production of progesterone stops. As progesterone decreases, the uterine lining begins to break down, causing menstruation. Then the whole cycle repeats. Now, what birth control does is it interferes with the ovarian cycle. In this booklet, there are just some common contraceptives which are taken to prevent pregnancy. I won't go over everything with you today, but it is listed from the most to least effective forms. I'll just explain the most common oral contraceptive, the pill. Now, we will review the most common, the pill. This birth control is a combination of estrogen and progestin, a synthetic form of progesterone, which is taken once a day for every month. The estrogen suppresses the production of FSH in the pituitary gland, so follicle maturation doesn't occur. No dominant follicle develops, and there is no increase in estrogen. The low levels of progestin would prevent the LH surge, preventing ovulation. Without the LH surge, ovulation doesn't occur and no ovum is released. The constant level of progestin makes the lining of the uterus inhospitable to the implantation of an embryo, meaning no baby. The continued delivery of estrogen and progestin maintains the suppression of FSH and LH.
Wow, I never knew how complex like the ovarian cycle was. I was actually wondering about the last couple of pills. They're like a different color. What are those?
Well, those are placebo pills. They have no estrogen or progestin, as our regular pills would have, and they simulate a fake period essentially. Yep. Any other questions?
Is there any chance I could get a copy of the booklet? And do you have a copy? Like
Well,
reference to it?
You could have this one right here. Beautiful. Nice. There you go.
Thank you.
And anything else?
No, thank you so much for answering my questions today.
No problem. And if you ever have any more questions, you know where to find me. You can just send me an email and I'll get right to you.
Thank you.
Have a
Have a
nice
good day.